This is from Maine with Love, an Allagash Brewing podcast where we talk about beer, our community here in Maine, and things that generally make us happy. So to celebrate Earth Month here at the brewery, we wanted to talk about sustainability, or rather how we're constantly working to be more sustainable. And so we're going to talk about that with a few members of our green team here at Allagash. And today I am very lucky to be joined by Zoe Malia, our sustainability coordinator, and Tom Halstead, our merchandise inventory manager. I'm Brett. I work on the marketing team here at Allagash. I want to ask Zoe, you have an open weekend in Maine. Where are you heading?
Oh, that is a really hard question to answer. Yes, honestly. Yes. I think I have two spots that come to my mind. Can I have two? Is that all right?
Yes, you can have two.
All right. So first spot I think is Camden, Rockland area. I went there for my birthday last year. It was absolutely gorgeous. Good food, good drink, beautiful.
Long grain.
Yeah, absolutely. I did get that. Nice. And second spot that came to my mind was Cutler Coast area. Quite a ways away, but I did get to do some hiking up there. I actually stayed on a kelp and blueberry farm when I was up there. Ooh. And it was absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I think those are my weekend getaway.
That's amazing. Cutler Coast, like how far up is that? I don't even know if I've heard of that.
I think it's like a 4.5, 5 hour drive, I believe. So It's a ways away, but
that is up there.
Yeah, you got to get out there. Yeah.
All right, Tom, different question for you. Who is the best actor to play King Lear in Shakespeare's King Lear?
Actually, when I was in high school, we did King Lear, and I was King Lear. No, I'm just kidding. 100% lying.
Obviously, Ian McKellen. No, that's not the question. I was just trying to think of something really random. No, actually, I do have a semi media related question, and I thought you'd have an interesting answer. So, what is the best movie to see at a drive-in theater?
That is a really hard question. I think you have to go with a scary movie because it's that eerie feeling. It's nighttime, but you also could go with kind of like a funny scary movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think any type of like scary-ish movie or funny scary movie. If you're on a date situation, if you're with the family, it's got to be straight up Disney Pixar kind of comedy.
Yeah, it's a great call. I was thinking like Ghostbusters for some reason. I feel like that's kind of that funny, scary, not too scary.
That could be. Yeah, funny, scary. I dig it. There's a giant marshmallow man. That's pretty scary.
Yeah, that's true. It's cute and scary somehow. So actually, Tom, I'll give you the question that I was going to give you. What's your stop in Maine on the weekend? What would you like to go to?
I was thinking about this question, and it is pretty difficult. So I'm also going to pick two, but I'm going to go seasonally. If it's the warmer seasons, you want to head to the coast, you want to be on the beach, on the water somewhere, and once fall hits, you got to head towards the New Hampshire border, hit up those mountains, beautiful foliage. You got to check it out, do some hiking. That's what I think.
I love it. Well, thank you both. That is like a legit hard question. That's hopefully the hardest question we'll get of this entire podcast. So I guess we'll start, and I'll let whoever feels like they're most comfortable answer it. What is a green team?
So what is a green team? It can be different things to different people, different businesses. I think everyone's going to have their own definition of what a green team is. Mm-hmm. And there's some other businesses that have different color teams. A blue team, does the same type of thing, just a different name. But essentially, it's for us, it's a group of passionate people that care about specific environmental causes, I would say, specific things that might affect the brewery, environmental concerns for the brewing industry.
Sure.
But it's also kind of an idea factory, I would call it, for people that have thoughts about how we could be doing things better, thoughts about how we could be doing things in our community, and just general like, hey, this would be cool to try. Why don't we try it? So I think for the most part, for us, we get as many passionate people together as possible to come up with ideas and to decide what we want to learn about, what we want to, try and make better what we want to do better as a company and in our community.
I love it. How many people are on our green team right now? Do you know?
Ooh, I should know this. Zoe's
Like
a new
12.
captain. She should know. It's her fault
Right.
now.
I should know. You're right.
While you're looking it up, while you're thinking about it, actually, I feel like that's an important piece of information. So Tom has led our green team for the past 4 years?
Somewhere around there. I inherited it from Luke Truman, who is still officially, unofficially on the green team. Mm-hmm. As our facilities manager, he interacts with it quite a bit.
Yeah, totally. And then Zoe has recently taken up the mantle as leader of the green team.
Yes, I have. Yeah, I've been in the tasting room for over 4 years, but just recently took on the role of the sustainability coordinator. So I'll be taking it over. I'm super excited.
It's very exciting.
So I just looked it up, and I believe we have about 10 people. And nice. I think from talking to Tom, it kind of fluctuates. It's been 8 people, 10 people, and it does rotate the members on in the team. Mm-hmm. And so sometimes, as people are rotated out, we're still going to keep them on our email thread, which I don't think Tom mentioned, but we are always bouncing ideas off of each other all the time, as Brett,
I think that's totally right, where it's it is just kind of a way for us to, if we see something cool in the newspaper, I'll full disclosure, I'm also on the green team. So I've been on the green team for 4 years. But the idea is that if you see something out there, like an article that's inspiring or maybe not so inspiring or whatever it might be, I think it's a team that is full of interested people who want to help the brewery be more sustainable in all the things we're doing.
Mm-hmm. And I think the goal has always been to have at least one person from each department. Just to really spread out the knowledge. And it was always important to me for an employee to know who to ask if they have a green related question. And if you have a person in your department that you work with and see every day, and you can go ask them your question. And if they don't know, they can, reach out, and they know who to reach out to. But it does fluctuate a little bit depending on how busy we are and who can make it, month to month and stuff like that. But and it can be different because we've always tried to have a salesperson on the green team, and they're all over the country, so a lot of time it's remote calling in and stuff like that. And that used to be a weird thing to do before COVID hit. Doing any type of remote call in was just always kind of, how do we handle this? How does this work?
Yeah, just as an additional point on that too, it just has been so helpful in bringing different buy-in from across the company as well, where if it was everyone was located on one team, of course you'd get fewer ideas, but you'd also have less buy-in about the holistic, how do you make this thing happen? How do you communicate it? Whatever the goal that we pick is as green team.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I also think it's the additional perspectives.
Yeah.
In my department, I'm going to have this issue over here that Brett in marketing, you're not going to be able to see. So having people from all across the company is really impactful. And that's actually, I think, really how we get so many projects done.
Totally. So I feel like that's a good segue into kind of this second question of just, how do we think about sustainability at Allagash? What's our kind of approach to it?
So sustainability has always been a big part of Allagash. This is something Rob's always talked about since day one in 1995 when we got started. Mm-hmm. I know it's something personally that when I was looking at Allagash as an employer, that I was like, wow, they do all these really great things for the environment. They're really involved. It seems to be very sustainability is a very prominent piece of their culture. Totally. And having worked at Allagash for over 4 years, I can definitely say that that's true. And really that does start with leadership. Mm-hmm. If, your leadership is not going to be, focus on sustainability, then it's going to be kind of difficult to make some things happen. So we're really lucky for that, but it is really embedded in our culture. Mm-hmm. I think we're very thoughtful about it and how we think about sustainability every day. It's in our core values. Caring for the environment is something that we think about each day we're here. So we're constantly looking for ways to improve our processes throughout every department at Allagash. And kind of, again, going back to the green team, we have a group of people who's, passionate and focus on this. And that's not limited to these people. That's, this passion is throughout the entire company. And even if people are not on the green team, people have sustainability and the environment on their on their brains pretty much all the time. We're getting ideas from everyone. So it's really amazing. And in 2019, we became a certified B Corp as well, which was really a commitment that we're going to hold our community, our employees, and the environment as equally important to the production of our beer. So it is kind of through and through. It's in every aspect of the work that we do.
Sustainability has always been something we have thought about, or Rob has thought about, but now it is actually a department for our company. We have slowly building, hopefully, a sustainability department. So Zoe is our first person, but hopefully over the years that will grow and grow as we continue to grow.
Yeah, I mean, that's amazing. And I think like a caveat that I'd like to add to kind of all this is just like the reality that brewing is a pretty resource intensive process. Like it's like, it takes a lot of water, it takes grain, it takes the materials that we're packaging with and everything like that. And I think like the key for us is just, how do we minimize all of that? How do we minimize that impact? How do we, and in addition to that, it's the whole philanthropic aspect of it, of like donating to people who are, or NGOs or nonprofits or whoever who are working to keep our water source clean and, various other things. But I think that it's just worth noting that like, brewing isn't like it just takes a lot of resources,
Yeah, absolutely.
How it works.
That is
but
how it works. Yeah.
Speaking of resources, one of those is water, and brewing takes a fair amount of water. So I guess like, we have a certain, a way that we think about trying to use as little water as possible per gallon of beer that we brew. So I don't know if either of you want to talk a little bit more about kind of like how we think about that.
So yeah, water usage. Brett, you already mentioned it. Beer is very resource intensive. Mm-hmm. The beer that you drink, every beer is 85-95% water. So the water is extremely important. Good water is really important to have. We're really fortunate with our water source. We have Sebago Lake, which is some of the cleanest water in the country. So we have really delicious beer because of it. So it's a resource that we want to, use responsibly and also take care of and protect it in the best way that we can. And also kind of going back to, I think you might have mentioned it, Brett, just like how much water we're using. The industry average is around 7 gallons of water per gallon of beer produced. So we've managed to cut that down to about 3.1 gallons of water per gallon of beer. That is a huge cut. And we do that in many, many different ways. But, by having equipment that's really efficient, by having, employees trained on ways to use the minimum amount of water while they're cleaning the equipment. Lots and lots of ways they can cut down on water. But again, going back to our water, making sure we want to actually protect the water and Sebago Lake. So we donate 10 cents of every barrel produced to Sebago Clean Waters, which is kind of a group of 9 different organizations that's actually working to protect the watershed there. So that's something that we're really passionate about. Just since, in 2021, we were able to donate over $10,000. So that's pretty huge. It's, it's cool to think too, like as we grow, we're just going to continue to be, putting this money right back into Sebago Clean Waters and hopefully protecting that really important resource.
As we continue to grow, we're going to be using more water. So we need to protect all that water.
Yeah.
But, one thing that just popped into my head, have we ever calculated out how many gallons of water we use in the break room to make coffee? Because I feel like we consume a lot of coffee.
I just added to that amount.
This is so true.
Just today.
It's very, very true.
We got to calculate it, Tom.
Somebody's got to weigh that out.
2 barrels per employee per year. It actually brings up something that I was thinking about from before too, of just like thinking of our green team, just the amount of people. So we have about like 140 something people at the brewery right now. And that's about 10 people on the green team. Like it feels like a pretty good ratio. Like it's a little under 10%, but it's like you have a good representation from the company. So
we were always one of the larger teams too, compared to, Perks and Rec in pilot team or something like that. We were always one of the larger groups.
Totally. Are there any specific things you're like, green team, we help move that forward, or what would you point at?
The first thing that kind of comes to mind is there was one specific conversation that became kind of a catalyst for a lot of what we're doing now. And we had a green team member that asked why we don't recycle our pack techs. And, at the time I was like, I don't know, no idea, no answer for you. Let me do some research. No one on the East Coast, no one in Maine was recycling pack techs.
Sorry, as an aside, pack techs are the carrier that is how you carry the 4-pack of cans, the plastic sort of like thing you snap on top of the cans. Sorry, Tom.
Pack techs are made from recycled materials already. And when we get them, we want to continue the recycling process. I have heard from some breweries that if you are manually putting your 4-packs together, they will reuse them. We, at our brewery, do not do that because we use machinery to feed the pack techs into the line. And it might cause issues. It might cause, having to stop the whole line if something gets hung up. Also, if one of those pack techs is broken and not considered good use, somebody could drop their beer, which would be a tragedy. So we don't want that to happen. So it's just easier for us to set those aside and make sure that we get them to the right place to be recycled. We reached out to them and they were very excited to partner with us and for us to become a partner for other breweries to take those back. And that kind of opened the floodgates of what else can we side stream. And we started looking at absolutely everything, from grain bags, shrink wrap. We recycle the cardboard tubes that come in the middle of the shrink wrap. We recycle electronics now. We do batteries and light bulbs and, any type of metal we separate out. We do corks, cages, caps, anything that we produce. We have tried to figure out a way to recycle it or get it somewhere for someone else to recycle it. I think just going back to that one conversation where it was like, why don't we do this? And then just thinking about and having it was like putting on a new pair of glasses and you all of a sudden have clarity and you're like looking at all the other things that we could also be recycling. So I think as far as projects go, that was absolutely the biggest one, figuring out what we can recycle, where can we recycle it, and we're still chipping away at it. We're still trying to figure out, what do we do with this? Can we separate this material out? Like, how does all this work? Where's it going?
That's awesome. I feel like if I could put a picture of that bay of bins that we have going now, like it's it's amazing of just all the different. Can anyone explain that bay of bins?
Yeah, I can explain it. I've had a lot of experience with it. So we essentially have what looks really overwhelming. It's really not. It's a great system that we have. It is a bunch of Slim Jims, if you're familiar with those, or basically just kind of like skinny, looks like trash bins, containers that are all labeled and lined up next to each other. And that's where we organize everything. So it's a very simple system. We just collect the materials, such as some of those pack tech carriers or bottle caps, throw them into the specific designated bin. And then once those are super full, we send them over to the warehouse and then they get taken care of over there and dumped into bigger bins. So it is really a simple process, but it's helped us so much in side streaming all of this waste that's getting produced.
It just made me think of, I at my house now, have a little basket of stuff where I put all the things I know I'm going to be able to recycle at the brewery. So I just have corks and cages and pack techs and shrink wrap and all this random stuff that I bring in once a month or whatever. Just throw it in all the separate places.
We've had salespeople, when they would come to town for a meeting, they're like, here's a bag of recycling. Like, okay, thanks. I appreciate it. This is a year's worth of corks. Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That works well.
Yeah. Brett, I can relate with that. I just have a bag full of what looks like trash. Like anyone coming over, I'm like, I promise I'm not hoarding trash. Yeah. I'm bringing it to the brewery to get it recycled.
I find myself doing that at other people's houses too. Like my parents-in-law, I'll leave their house with trash because I'm like, oh yeah, I can get this stuff. I got this. Yeah. But it's good. it side streams it out. Actually, so nice little segue. How have we kind of then turned that into something that was a little bit more public facing, like that people visiting our tasting room could then take advantage of?
Yeah. So it did kind of all fit into this beautiful little, I don't know. It just worked out so well we're doing this behind the scenes. Let's bring it to the public.
Sure.
So in the tasting room, we offer this program, totally free to sign up. You don't even have to sign up if you don't want to, where guests, anyone that's visiting the brewery, can bring those materials to us. So we're accepting pack techs, bottle caps, cages, natural corks. So those are going to be the ones that are not plastic. And then we also accept shipping materials. So that would be brown packing paper, bubble wrap. So we can send it over to Tom so we can reuse that stuff over at the warehouse when he's shipping out orders from our online store. So we essentially just let guests bring that in, and we'll sort it for them, recycle it for them. And then each time they have a drop off, they get what's a punch. We basically have like a coffee house punch card system. So they get a punch on their card, and on their sixth punch, they get a $10 gift card to the tasting room. So it's a super simple, really low stakes kind of program we have going on. Easy for us, easy for guests, but it's really taken off. We started this back in 2020 during the pandemic. So it's still relatively new, but we've had over 100 people sign up, and we have people bring in just massive amounts of side streaming materials. Like you said, Brett, just people, like, it appears that they're hoarding for a year and then they bring it into us. So there's some days where you walk in there and there's like 5 giant boxes full of materials, but it's super amazing. And people are really, really happy that they have a place to bring these materials that they can't recycle in their blue bin at their house.
Another segue, because I am just apparently a huge fan of segues. I just love little segueing things into things. Can you tell me, so we have our consumer-facing recycling sort of program. Can you tell me a little bit more about our recycling co-op, which is facing slightly differently?
The recycling co-op right now seems to be a pretty smooth process. But when we first started tossing around the idea, it was difficult. It was confusing for us, and there was a lot of moving parts. Fortunately, we were not the first brewery to think about this. Right. There are other people out there that had already started doing it. So we were able to, kind of piece together what other people had already been doing and make it work for our area. Essentially, when you have a material, the more of that material you have, the more value it holds to a recycler. If you have one pack tech, the recycler's like, I don't want that. But if you have a trailer full of pack techs, then they can actually do something with that. Same goes for, cardboard or metal, that sort of thing. So whatever we can collect a large volume of like materials is beneficial for the recycling center, and it is more apt to get recycled as opposed to, incinerated. The co-op is built with a group of other breweries. There's, there's some package stores or grocery stores that are collecting pack techs from when they break apart packs, recycling corks and that sort of thing. Pretty much anybody that is creating these types of materials that we are already side streaming, we will take those in and recycle them. We work with Revision Energy that does solar panels, and we get some plastic pieces from them that I think are spacers from the solar panels or some sort of high-tech thingamabobber. But it's a similar type plastic to what we're already recycling, so we'll take those in. So right now it's kind of a motley crew of businesses and companies that are just looking to do the right thing. And as it is right now, every Friday we have it set up that you can come cruise on by, and usually Bob and Oli are there and listening to heavy metal and putting stuff in the baler and driving around on fork trucks. So it's pretty fun.
So it's just what they're doing. They're just throwing random things in the baler, just peeling out in fork trucks.
Yeah, that's what the baler's for, is to crush random things, right?
That's true. Yeah. We have a YouTube channel for that. we might podcast. Eventually. Who knows? Yeah, right. The Baylor podcast. So like, I guess you kind of went through all the things that we're taking in that, but I guess, so it's like PakTex, cardboard, grain bag, shrink wrap. Are those the highest volume things that we're getting from other breweries or people who are taking advantage of it?
I would say definitely at the warehouse, the higher volume things are grain bags is a huge one. And shrink wrap, whenever you get pallets in off of a truck, right off the trailer, it's always shrink wrapped. And we get a fair amount when we get kegs in, so we need to recycle that as well. But grain bags is a big one. We wish that they could be reused, and Blue Ox Malt House actually is doing some trial on reusing super sacks. It's just a matter of making sure that they're cleaned thoroughly. Right. And also, we hang those, and you don't want it to rip and fall over and dump a bunch of grain on top of somebody. So that wouldn't be fun at all.
That's a big bag.
Yeah, very heavy.
We're really lucky that the warehouse has the space and has people over there who can, take all this stuff in and keep it there while we don't have the room at the brewery. So,
yeah. And actually, Tom, could you what are the other breweries who are taking advantage of it right now? I just kind of want to give them a shout out for taking the extra effort to bring that stuff over. Yeah,
I would say, Maine Beer Co.'s always been a pretty good partner with this. They have been there since day one, dropping off cardboard, a lot of cardboard and grain bags. Oxbow has been a good friend of the group. Cool. And, Revision Energy, like I said, Bow Street Market. I know there's another, Rosemont Foods would bring PakTex by. So it's kind of a larger-ish breweries and smaller-ish, market type stores that are dropping stuff off. Bissell Brothers, Mass Landing.
Nice.
Definitive, our friends across the street as well, I believe.
Right.
Are participating, which is awesome. So that's Definitive, Austin Street, Battery Steel, awesome. Foundation.
Got everyone. They're all
everyone.
here.
Everybody.
If it's awesome. A brewery in Maine, we take it. We did have a few people in New Hampshire reach out to us because they were looking to start a PakTech recycling program. And when they contacted PakTech, they're like, the closest place is Allagash in Portland. So they were trying to figure out how they could get PakTech up to us. I talked to them about maybe there's a bunch of people in your area that want to help consolidate, and you could fill a U-Haul or something and drive them up. But what actually happened that was more beneficial was for them to contact a local recycler and for them to start consolidating, as opposed to using the fuel to drive it up to us just to send it somewhere else. So
I feel like I learned stuff every time, I talk to anybody on this podcast. It's exciting because there's just so much stuff going on. How much did we bulk recycle through that packaging co-op in 2021, Tom?
I'm going to just take a stab in the dark and say 70 tons of recycling went through the co-op in 2021.
Nice.
I stabbed at this piece of paper that you sent to me.
I sent everyone questions. They got to fill in the answers. I provided some numbers to help jog people's memory, because there's a lot of numbers out there, especially when it comes to this sustainability, for sure.
I would say that the two biggest materials were definitely cardboard, PakTech, and then followed right behind with shrink wrap, grain bags. Those are the ones that we go through the most and we collect the most of.
Cool.
Yeah, we were able to, after a lot of back and forth with the state of Maine, we finally were able to receive a grant to invest in our co-op. The grant was based on folks that were trying to improve recycling in their community. Mm-hmm. So we were able to secure some funds to purchase a couple more balers. We are going to retire one of our balers, which I actually believe is not necessarily going to be retired. It's just moving to a different brewery that might be able to use it. But we were able to purchase a scale so that we can weigh all of our bales when they go out the door. So when Brett asks how many pounds of PakTech we recycled, I don't have to get out my, abacus and my slide ruler and try and figure that out. weighing single pack techs and figuring out the dimensions of a cardboard bin is not fun.
I'm sorry.
So,
but thank you for that number, because it allowed us to say we recycled X number of techs. Got to spread that information.
we were able to get a scale, so we can weigh everything. Bob was at the warehouse the other day weighing empty bins and pallets and stuff, so we can get the tear weight on all of that.
That's great.
So we can be as accurate as possible. Bob also set up a form, so when a brewery drops off, we can weigh what they dropped off and account for it and add it to that form and share it back to that brewery, so they can see exactly how much they're recycling through this program. So they can get numbers as well, because everyone likes to learn about facts and numbers.
So Tom mentioned Luke Truman, who's on our facilities team, and he's been kind of one of the big leaders of sustainability at the brewery kind of since as long as I've been here. And I think honestly, since as long as he's been here, he's on like every sustainability oriented panel in Portland and possibly Maine. Luke kind of brought this idea of, when we were talking about the green team, like, how do you start a green team? What's a great way to kind of get you going? He said, set, attainable goals, set kind of these goals that you can get to. So I guess what is next for our green team / brewery? What are these kind of goals that we're looking at?
I think it's interesting because I just came into my new position, and we're kind of in I'm in this kind of transition period. And I think we kind of are as a company, around sustainability. But I think one big focus right now, and I think it's something that we've kind of been working on the green team for a little while, is really employee engagement. Are going to be some big goals for us. So really specifically, I think the one that we've had on the green team is staff trainings and just education in general.
Cool.
So literally doing departmental waste management training. In the tasting room, for example, we're sorting waste all day long, and that takes, time to educate staff members on what goes where and why does it go there. I think, even providing context to people is really, really helpful, so that they can, take that knowledge and bring it home and, spread the word. So I think, those are going to be some of the big things we're going to be focusing on as we're moving forward. Educating employees, creating trainings for existing employees, and then also creating sustainability orientations for new hires, and orientations that will do, maybe twice a year for staff. So that's kind of a big project in itself, and it's going to involve a lot of people throughout, every department. But it's going to be, I think, a huge benefit to us all, and hopefully we'll see some results in, in the waste that we're creating, and hopefully creating less of it.
I mean, that's a great call, because I feel like one of the most asked questions that I ever got as a member of the green team is like, can I recycle this? And unfortunately, the answer is almost never simple. It's like, is it bigger than the palm of your hand? Like, it's just like these ludicrous, but also necessary things that we have to think about to make sure things actually get recycled and aren't just, getting thrown away eventually.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's kind of explaining to people it really is not that simple. And I know that. And I don't expect people to know that. And no one expects you to know everything. Right. Because the amount of times where, like you said, Brett, where I'm asked, is this recyclable? Half the time I'm like, I have no idea. What the heck is this thing? It takes time. It takes energy. And I think as the green team members, we're here to try and hopefully make it easier for everyone. It's by no means an easy task for anybody, unfortunately. I wish recycling, and we all wish recycling was pretty straightforward, but there's lots of things that you really need to know in order to make it the most efficient that it can be. But totally. Even then, it's still difficult.
I would say the importance of training and retraining around this is I might have an answer for you today, and then tomorrow I have a different answer for you because we're now side streaming that, or, nope, they're not taking that anymore, or that's trash, so things change very rapidly in, the brewing industry and in the recycling industry. So being able to come up with a training program that is easily pivoted to, here's the updated information. Not much has changed. We added a bin. We took a bin away, that sort of thing. I think it's going to be a lifelong project.
Mm-hmm.
What, Tom or Zoe, or both, are some tips, not even necessarily little. What are any tips that you would give to help, any sort of a company try to start to move more into a sustainability mindset or to become a little bit more sustainable?
I would say the number one thing is to start any type of group or team. It doesn't matter what you call it. It doesn't matter how many people are on it. It could be 2 people. Just getting people together that can focus on task at hand. They can figure out what they want to do. They can figure out what their capabilities are, their strengths, their weaknesses, and they can team up together to, accomplish what needs to be done. I think having people that can work together that are both passionate, or as many people that you can get that are passionate about a cause, is always going to be better than that one person that's like, I really wish we were doing this, and they're just talking to themselves. So that'd be my tip, is pick a color and a team name, just throw it together, go for it.
Like, I always look forward to the green team meetings. And I think it's, sometimes we have a task in mind and we totally don't get it done because we all have other jobs to do. And we just don't get it done. But having that meeting each month and having time to look forward to, like, getting pumped up and being able to talk to other people about things that you're passionate about. And even maybe just having a space to be like, hey, I'm super stressed out about the state of the world. That's okay too. And it's nice to have people who feel those same things as well. So I say starting a green team, remembering that, celebrate your little wins. Because, we all kind of want to install solar arrays and buy all these carbon offsets. But it's, sometimes looking at all those little things, like maybe swapping out your incandescents for LEDs, or doing a waste audit, another free thing, just checking out, like, what are you creating in your company? Maybe taking the waste bin out from underneath your desks and having a community, like, recycling and compost station in your office. Another very small thing, but you would actually be surprised that you're going to be, removing a lot of things from the landfill and probably recycling and composting more. And then I think maybe too, like, one of the last things is purchase locally when you can. Maybe if you have the capacity in your business to create a little local purchasing policy to refer to when you need to go buy some paper or pens. I don't really know what you're buying, but those are all just some, like, hopefully little things. But I think it's just kind of going back to the why. What do you care about? Taking little steps every day to stay positive, keep on pushing forward, and go environment.
Going back to the local thing, Zoe, do you want to talk about the Go refill? I think that's pretty exciting, the bulk soaps and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Yeah, so I guess another green team project that we're kind of working on is partnering up with a local zero waste company. It's woman owned. It's called Go Refill. They're located 20 minutes from Allagash. It's a super rad company that offers refillable items to the public. So what we're going to do, and when I say refill, I mean like your shampoos, conditioners, cleaning products. They have zero waste, plastic free dog toys, kitchen supplies, like everything you can imagine they have. So they're going to be coming to the tasting room a couple times a month, starting in April to kick off Earth Month. So that's going to be a really exciting kind of project we have going on to promote, using less plastic, buying locally, and just being more mindful about what you're purchasing and just like what you're using in your home. So that's a really exciting project we're pumped about as well.
And we started getting their soap even for the break room and for the bathrooms. So we're purchasing bulk from them as well. And I think one of the cool things about their company is you can bring your own container. And I like when they post online, they're like, look at this wacky person with their wacky container. And I love it, So yeah, I'm telling you, I'm thinking ketchup bottles for shampoo it's the way to go in the future.
But I mean, that was awesome. Thank you both. I feel like we hit on so many different topics. I appreciate the time you took to chat about it. Thank you.
I'm super pumped to be here. This is awesome. Thank you so much.
This has been an Allagash Brewing production. And if you have something you want us to talk about on the show, shoot us a message at podcast@allagash.com. Thank you, as always, for listening.